cross-court pass to Trey Smith. Trey from downtown, got it. Wants a screen, he'll go the other way. Find AO. Aaron from downtown, got it. The Moose is loose.
Hit center court with Charlie Ernst on 88.3 WLFC.
Tommy, left side, little stutter step, driving the lane, scoop the hoop, left hand, got it again. High ball screen, back top of the key, backdoor pass ahead, and slam it home. Alex White, that's his second slam.
Join Coach Ernst and the Oilers on-air team as they take a look back at the week that was, discuss what's happening around the conference, and preview the week ahead.
Oilers win it, and what a game here in Croy, and a tremendous victory for the Orange and Black.
And now, let's join men's basketball head coach Charlie Ernst and the voice of Oiler basketball, Jason Granger.
Hello and welcome to Center Court with Charlie Ernst. I'm Jason Granger, and Coach, 2 games this week and a couple interesting ones. And go ahead and start with the one that counts on our schedule, the Lake Erie ball game. And I think we knew it was going to be a battle. You knew it was going to be a battle, and it was all the way down the stretch. Really good college basketball game. I'm sure the fans enjoyed it, and the best part about it is we got the win.
Well, I thought it was, as you said, a really hard-fought game, a game that both teams desperately wanted to have. I give Lake Erie tremendous credit. I thought they played very well. Their bugaboo all year has been shooting the ball. That wasn't an issue for them. I thought they made quite a few shots, in fact, from some unlikely guys. But I think the thing with them is, it's a veteran team. They don't panic. They certainly weren't intimidated by coming to Findlay. And then I think, second of all, this is a team that is now becoming a different team because they've got their big man back. And I thought he was a big difference in this game on both ends of the floor. He's a shot blocker, a rim protector, and that's something they've lacked in their first 10 games. Lamont Rhodes made his return against Hillsdale, played a few minutes to get his feet wet, and then he came here, and this was really his first real action, and I thought he made a big difference for them on both ends of the floor. And so they were a very formidable team. They're going to win a lot of games, so it was a good win for us.
It certainly was a good win. We'll have to return the trip to Lake Erie later in the season, but statistically, you look at the rebounding differential, 45 to 33, and talking to Coach Shardo after the ball game, I think a lot of times you look and say, well, our big guys got to do a better job on the boards, but they had us scrambling on defense with their ability to make the three. We're running out at shooters, and then they're getting in the lane. And maybe it was just a more a matter of us being out of position for defensive rebounds.
Well, I think it was in the second half. I think in the first half, they were the more physical team. They were the more aggressive team. And I think that was noteworthy on a couple 50-50 balls, a couple balls that got tipped around a couple times. They had, because the thing with rebounding is, you have to pursue the ball with multiple bodies. It's not always going to go where you think it's going to go. So, but if you have the rim protected and you have people pursuing with a big motor, that puts a lot of pressure on all of your players. And so often in rebounding, everyone wants to look at the bigs. Our bigs have rebounded well all year. I mean, let's face it, Alex is one of the top rebounders in the country. But maybe where that hurts is other players begin to think, well, he's just going to get every rebound. And then you play a team like Lake Erie that sent 3 and sometimes 4 guys to the offensive boards. Then it becomes a group effort. It should always be a group effort, but I think maybe they exposed that.
They might have exposed that a little bit. In the first half, Anthony Master-Lasco kept us in the ball game. I think he had 13 or 15 points at the half. He hit a couple threes. He was active getting inside, and then in the second half, his defense was impressive.
Well, he's making strides, and that's all that you can ask for from young players. He got his feet wet last year, but let's face it, his role was he's probably like the 9th or 10th guy on our team. He did get 1 or 2 starts, but even in those games, he didn't play a lot. But he did enough to get his feet wet. Now, this year, his responsibility is a lot bigger, and sometimes, we got to be patient, just like other players in our program over the years. And I think this was the first game, in my opinion, that I really saw him play at a high level on both ends of the floor. And, I think he's had moments. He's done well. Obviously, he's done well. I'm starting him. But I think the thing with Anthony is he's very coachable. He's a tough kid. He's hard-nosed. And those kind of guys tend to get better quick. And this was, we needed everything we got from him. Give him a lot of credit. He played well in the first half and made a huge shot in the second half. But probably more than anything, I was just impressed that he came to play on the defensive end.
Yeah, it was good to see. And really for the first time this season, both Aaron and Alex struggled offensively. I mean, they still had 20 points between them, but we've gotten a lot more scoring-wise from them throughout the season. You need somebody else to step up, and Trey Smith was the guy. And Trey, he had a great game against Bowling Green as well on Sunday. It seems like the bigger the game, the bigger Trey plays, and certainly needed that on Saturday.
Well, and I think the other piece of that, Jason, is the last couple, last week, and again Saturday morning when I walked into the gym, and then again Sunday morning when I walked into the gym, who's on the gun shooting but Trey Smith early in the morning? And, and this is a kid, by the way, who had to take 20 credit hours in the fall, and he's going to be taking 20 again in the spring because he wants to graduate on time. So we're talking about a kid, some of our guys over the years will take 24 for the year. He's going to end up with 40 credit hours this year, and he still finds the time to get in the gym early to get shots up. So he's a very motivated kid right now, but the fact that his shots are going in doesn't surprise me because he's putting the time in, and thank God. He was huge against Lake Erie. I thought that stretch in the second half, he put us on his back. And not just because he's scoring, but, sometimes it's amazing what body language and attitude can do for an entire team. And I thought he just not only put us on his back making shots, but he had such tremendous positive body language and energy on the floor. It sort of rallied our entire team.
And his ability to, when we were struggling offensively, to draw a foul. He goes to the line 12 times. It's been a while since we've had a kid go to the line 12 times and made 11 of them. And that might have been as key as anything because, offensively at times it was a struggle to get a good shot, but he found a way to, get some of those chippy fouls and go to the line and make them pay.
Well, he's that's something we've struggled at, quite honestly, in the last couple of years. That is getting to the line, and he's an aggressive guard. He does a good job. I feel like maybe as well as any guy we've had at a balance of making threes, getting all the way to the rim, and having an effective pull-up game. I mean, think about that. How many guys have we had that can score at all three levels as a guard? Not many. We've had very good guards, but some of them are really good shooters, and they're not great finishers at the rim. Other guys can make the three, and they really don't have much of a pull-up game. Some guys get all the way to the rim and can't make the three. He can score at all three levels. It makes him very dangerous, and I thought on Saturday he did just that. He scored at all three levels, and I think it shows just how good he can be on offense. We're probably just finding out that he's someone we have to get the ball in his hands even more than what we do.
Sure, and 25 points was a career high for Trey Smith, and Oilers come away with a 76-74 victory, and it's a big victory in league play because as we're starting to see in the GMAC is I think there's a lot of teams. I think last year, obviously, Findlay was by far the best team, 19-1 in the league, and I think we won the league by 3 or 4 or 5 games. This GMAC this year looks to be like there's a number of teams that are going to be battling for the top spot.
It's pretty amazing, really, the balance right now. And that's why every game's important, but especially your home games. You just never quite sure when you open up the GMAC scoreboard after the games are over with to see what you're going to see. But it seems like nearly every league-wide night or day, there's always at least one upset and a lot of close, hard-fought games. I think being healthy, being able to get over one loss and not letting them rack up 1, 2, 3 in a row is going to be real important. We knew coming into the year that this league lost a lot of really good players across the board. It would be a young league and kind of a league of who knows how this is all going to shake out. And I would say we're now 5-6 games into league play, and I'm not sure we figured anything out other than what we figured out before the year started, and that is there's a lot of good teams. Still remains to be seen who the best is.
And we'll find out as we go on through the season. But you step out of league play and step out of the regular schedule and play an exhibition game up in Bowling Green, and there's a real game for Bowling Green. It counted on their schedule, and we got off to a great start. Had a 10-point lead with about 4 minutes to play. Unfortunately, they go on a 17-0 run to end the half with a 10-0 run, start the second with a 7-0 run, and then never look back.
Well, let me start out by saying two things about that game. Number one, I want to thank Bowling Green, and I made sure I did in the post-game press conference for playing this game. It's been a game that our fans have been starving for a long time, and so the opportunity that they gave us, I want to thank them for that. Number two, I can't say enough about our fans. I saw this morning in the Blade that was a season high in terms of attendance for Bowling Green, and this was a game where like our college, they're on break, and so no students, no faculty, or maybe some faculty, but probably they were missing quite a few faculty and staff that are regular attendees, but it was still a record attendance, and the reason why is because they were playing Findlay, and we had an unbelievable following of fans. It'd be interesting to know just how many, but I think I would be remiss if I didn't mention our fans, because I speak on behalf of all of the people that are part of this program. Thank you so much for your support. Now, that being said, we knew that emotionally and physically we were going up to Bowling Green spent a little bit. That was a hard-fought win we got against Lake Erie. It'd been nice to win that one going away, but that's not the reality. We're not a team that's very deep right now due to injuries and other things. And so that doesn't help. Now, those aren't excuses, but I feel like in the second half more than any time, it sort of showed. Ethan, was not 100%. I didn't want to put him in jeopardy, so we shortened his minutes, which made us even shorter on the bench. And then we get in foul trouble. It just changed a lot of what we thought we might be able to try. It sort of got thrown out the window, and we had to keep it somewhat simple because we had some odd lineups on the floor. But that's what happens, and that'll happen again this season, and hopefully this game will make us better prepared. The last 4 minutes of the first half were, in my opinion, the difference in the game, and we need to look at those 4 minutes, and really we'll probably learn everything we need to find from that game in that 4-minute stretch. And so hopefully we can dissect where we went wrong. I think it was a combination of things, and then hopefully we can get better at it.
Yeah, it was a really nice environment there in Bowling Green, and from what I could look like almost half the fans there were from Findlay, and a great turnout. And we'll talk more about this game because there were some really good performances from the Oilers inside the box score, and we'll check that out when we return on the home of the Oilers, 88.3 WLC.
Chances are there'll never be an emergency ever again. But just in case, let's talk about a plan.
Okay.
Who is going to grab the go bag?
What's a go bag?
It is a bag we do not have that is filled with things we really, really need in an emergency.
Guess we won't have to worry about it then.
Well, this is great. I am so glad that we don't have a plan.
I know.
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency, who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hey everyone, let's all stop what we're doing and take a moment. You see? Every moment can be kind of special. But they can be loud moments, goofy moments, dorky moments, it doesn't matter. Because every time dads like us take a moment like that to spend with our kids, well, it's pretty momentous. So let's take a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Cross-court pass to Trey Smith. Trey from downtown got it.
Wednesday night, your Oiler men's basketball team is on the road as they take on the Flyers from Lewis University.
Tommy, left side, little stutter step, driving the lane, scoop the hoop, left hand, got it again.
Jason Granger will have all the action from Joliet, Illinois. Pregame at 3:40, tip-off at 4 o'clock.
Aaron from downtown, got it. The Moose is loose.
This is your home for Oiler men's basketball, 88-3 WLFC.
Welcome back to Center Court, talking with Charlie Ernst about the Bowling Green game on Sunday. And, Coach, there were a number of positive things that came out of there. Well, first, I thought the defense in the first half was really impressive. They got a kid in the Wiggins kid that's just a huge man down low, and I thought you guys did a really nice job of making it difficult on him and controlling them on the offensive end, really for the majority of that first half.
Well, that was really our focal point coming in. We knew if he had a big game, one of those monster games, and I think our fans need to know that he's the number one rebounder in the country, not the number one rebounder in the MAC, but the number one rebounder in Division I basketball. And on top of that, if you look at a lot of NBA draft, his name is on the board, and so this is a big man that's athletic. That's going to play well after college. So obviously that's our focal point. Now, the one thing we had going for us is our best defender would be matched up with him in Alex. And so I felt reasonably good about that. Now, my biggest concern was Alex in foul trouble. And as it turned out, Alex fouled out. But I thought Alex did a heck of a job on him. And Aaron did when he was on him. So we matched that. We got great help from our perimeter. And really executed our game plan on the defensive end as well as we could have hoped in the first half. I was very happy with our defense at halftime. I thought our guys really competed hard. We had a good idea of what we wanted to do, and for the most part, we did it. And so, that's a credit to our players. I think it's a credit to their IQ. We came back on, Sunday morning, after a hard-fought game against Lake Erie. No walkthrough. We just watched video, talked about scouting report, talked about game plan, and give our guys credit. We went out and executed it in the first half.
Yeah, did a nice job and did some nice things on the offensive end. I think anytime you play a Division I opponent, you gotta shoot well. We didn't shoot well in the second half, and for a large part of the first half, we shot well, and especially from three. Trey made 6 threes. He was great, 20 points, but Chaz George, I thought, continues to impress. He had a couple of big shots, but his defense, his athleticism, he's a guy that is starting to morph into some guys that we've had in the past with being big athletic bodies that can get to the rim.
He just keeps getting better, and I thought he had a good game against Lake Erie too. I mean, give him credit. I mean, I really like Chaz. He's a great kid off the court, great communicator for this team. Has kept a good attitude through some tough couple seasons here, and really become maybe one of the most important guys in our program because he now brings the versatility through injuries to play multiple positions. And it seems as though each game he gets more and more comfortable. He's sort of putting the ball in my court. I'm having to find ways to get him more minutes. And so that's a good problem to have. But Chaz has really the X factor for him. If he can continue to shoot the ball from the perimeter the way he is, then that just adds to not only his game, but gives us another threat out there. And so, he played well. Trey played well. I thought we had some good looks late in the first half. Anthony had a wide open three. Trey might have had one. I mean, I thought we had a couple good looks. I don't know if we were getting tired, if fatigue was beginning to set in. We left a couple of those shots short. They blocked a couple shots we had at the rim that I thought we had some opportunities there. So it was just a couple things, but maybe fatigue did play a factor late in the first half, and obviously it did in the second half. But certainly there were positives.
I want to finish up talking about the Bowling Green game, talking about Devin Stover, because Devin's another guy that's going to have to play the 4 and the 5 for you with Brady out with injury. And Devin, again, he does so many good things, and he's a lot like Chaz from the standpoint of big body that can finish inside, and he's undersized, but he was finishing in amongst the trees in there.
Well, yeah, he's Devin, just another great kid. I mean, I love all of our kids, but I've got a hard time believing that people have better kids than what we've got in our program. And he wants to be a good player. He's sort of feeling his way. Maybe I'm expecting too much too soon. But we've got to figure out ways to maybe get him ISO'd when he's on the floor, because his first step is lightning, and he's physical to the rack. We need his rebounding. Thought he was flat-footed the first time I put him on the floor a couple times, and he's just too athletic, too good of a motor to kind of be flat-footed waiting for other guys to go get the ball. But it was a big stage, big opportunity. I thought he really stepped off after that first opportunity that was missed. He's another guy. We're just running out of bodies, so the guys we put out there have to be able to kind of grow up in a hurry, and we're going to need more and more from him as the season goes on. We got to find out really what fits him the best. That's my job, and we'll figure it out because he's got a lot of ability.
It sure does. And close the book on Bowling Green and move to the last, 2 more games before the new year, and we have go over to Lewis. Actually, head over to Joliet. There's a measles outbreak in Lewis, and I laughed about it on the air. It's not funny, but you just don't say it too often. So now it's a neutral site game. It's still very close to Lewis University, about 10 miles down the road. This one's going to be played at St. Francis, which is in Joliet, Illinois, and this is going to be a tough matchup because maybe our toughest non-league matchup of the year. Number one, it's on the road, and two, it's a very good opponent.
Well, first of all, I don't know if measles and mumps are the same thing, but either way, you're exactly right. They called me a couple weeks ago and told me about this. They didn't think there was any danger in playing the game, but by law they have to notify opposing groups that are coming to campus. And because it's on break anyhow, I think Lewis felt like they aren't going to have any students there. They aren't going to have faculty staff there anyhow. Let's just be safe and move this game to St. Francis. So that's the plan. And so that's only 10 minutes from Lewis's campus. Short drive. It really won't change our preparation much. But I think most importantly, it's the same opponent, same game time, same day. We're up against a very good team, a team that's playing well right now, playing with a lot of momentum. It'll be a very big challenge for our team.
And it seems like a number of these teams we've played this year, a team that brings back a lot of guys from a successful season last year, they're right on the fringe of making the NCAA tournament, and they're poised. I got a feeling their coaching staff is thinking this is their year to get into the tournament.
Well, it is, and they've got a couple guys that have been around for a while, and they've got a Delaney kid. I can't remember his name right off the top of my head, but I know he's a very good player. He's been starting since he was a freshman, Delaney Blaylock, and they've got other guys, but I know he's kind of their team leader. He may not be their leading scorer. I think he's right up there, but I know he's their team leader, and so they've got a lot of good players. They're a disciplined bunch. They try to keep things pretty simple. They're going to be fundamentally sound, going to run great motion offense, and going to play just hard-nosed man-to-man defense. And, sometimes those teams can get really good when you have a lot of veterans. And this is, as you mentioned, this is a team that has a lot of veteran players, a lot of returners. We're going to have a 40-minute effort in this game, and we're going to have every guy, do the little things well, because this is a team that will expose you if you're not doing little things. Little things like, maybe not hedging a ball screen, little things like not screening effectively, forgetting out-of-bounds plays, and we have to be at our best there. I think more than anything else, we have to be as engaged as we can be and as healthy and fresh as we can be. So for us, it's making sure that we are fresh, we are healthy, and we have a great mindset coming into this game, because it's probably going to be one of the top in-region non-conference games of the year. I'm happy that we're playing this game. It's not the type of game that looks all that appealing going into Christmas break. If you look around the conference and in the region, most teams are playing non-conference games against, maybe winnable games. This, on the other hand, is one of those games that can carry a lot of weight come into February.
It sure can. There's been a lot of those games that you've had this year, Coach, and a lot of them have been at home this year, and this one will be a good opportunity on the road. And you look at how the last two games has gone, and I would think the concern or something that you want to get back to is establishing Alex in the post. And it's only been one game really, or two games with Bowling Green. He didn't have a high point total, and the Lake Erie not as well. But we're a different team when Alex is getting touches down low and going at it strong.
Well, we have to have great balance there, because I think the thing that's happened, two things. Number one, he scored so well early in the year down there that naturally, that we caught some teams off guard. There wasn't a lot of video out there yet. Teams weren't quite sure what Findlay was going to be. Alex has mostly been a defensive guy his first 3 years. Well, now that that's been established and there's plenty of video out there to support that, teams are doing what any good team will do, and that is they are packing it in. And I think our players on the floor, we've gotten away from our great movement. We're now becoming a little bit more like, I call it NBA predictable, where we throw it to one wing and then our guys look inside for 3 seconds and then throw it there. Well, the problem with that is now he's surrounded by bodies. So I don't think the opportunities that he's getting are anywhere near the opportunities he got earlier in the year. And then as that's happened, I think he's pressed a little bit. He's taken more tough shots in the last 3 games than he did in the first 7 combined. So I think the thing that will help him more than anything is better movement on offense, getting him the ball later in possessions rather than early in possessions, getting their defense running around and chasing rather than sitting in the paint and waiting for us to throw it in the post. So I think it all works hand in hand. And then if they bring a double or triple on him, he's got to be a willing passer to find our shooters stepping into shots. And we'll get there. And I think sometimes as a season goes, you see what teams are doing, you adjust. Then you'll later have to make adjustments to those adjustments, and that's what good teams do. It's just a constant evolvement of how offensive basketball works. So, I love that we've got the type of team that can adjust and will adjust. They understand how important it is.
And of course, anytime you go on the road and play a really quality opponent, a GLVC opponent, you got to have a great defensive effort. And it seems like the schools in the GLVC are always very good offensively. They're always have talented players, and Lewis will be no different.
Well, the thing that jumps out at me with Lewis's stats is this, they played 7 games, and they're 49 of 121 from the 3, which is both those numbers are low. And now they're shooting 40%, but they don't shoot as many threes as some of the teams we've played here recently. Now, I always say this, most teams shoot better at home, but the thing we have going for us is this is not a true home game for them. It's so, how that all plays out, but what that tells me is, A, they lean on their defense, and B, they probably are going to be patient on offense and they don't rely on threes. They're going to try to get the ball inside. They're going to try to score off the dribble. They have good balance on offense. So we're going to have to defend at all 3 levels. And then finally, I know they can put size on the floor. We're going to have to rebound the ball effectively. They're a good rebounding team.
Well, it should be a great matchup over in Joliet. And, Coach, best of luck.
Thank you.
That's head coach Charlie Ernst. Want to remind all other fans, if you're making the trip, it will be at St. Francis University, which is in Joliet, Illinois. Check out the UF web page to get more information on that. We'll have, if you can't make it to the game, we'll have pregame about 7:40 and tip right around 8 o'clock. For the coach Charlie Ernst, I'm Jason Granger. You've been listening to Center Court.
Tommy, left side, little stutter step, driving the lane, scoop the hoop, left hand, got it again.
Thank you for listening to Center Court with Charlie Ernst.
Off the screen, he'll go the other way, find A.O. Aaron from downtown, got it. The Moose is loose.
Join us every Tuesday night during the season for your connection to Coach Ernst and Oiler men's basketball.
Oilers win it, and what a game here in Troy, and a tremendous victory for the Orange and Black.
This is your home for Oiler men's basketball, 88.3 WLFC.